Hey, what's going on everybody? Jason here, and welcome back to another Vanguard Zombies video. In this video, I'd like to bring you guys a gameplay commentary about my thoughts on the Chaos storyline being canon now in the Dark Aether storyline. Now, the majority of this video is going to be speculative and me asking a lot of questions, because this is a very interesting plot twist for Vanguard Zombies. And this is something I also talked about with K Cosmic on the Division Z podcast, so if you guys want to check out episode 93, that'll be linked down below in the description. So if you guys don't know by now, the Chaos storyline has now been canonized for the Dark Aether storyline. And one of the reasons why we know the Chaos storyline is canon is because Gabriel Kraft talks about Aleister Rhodes in a radio on Numa. If you guys haven't heard the radio, I'm gonna go ahead and play it right now.
It reminds me of when I studied the writings of Aleister Rhodes, an amateur demonologist and personal hero of mine. Rhodes wrote about different objects of power that he called Sentinel Artifacts, but I was never able to find out exactly what they were.
So there you have it. Aleister Rhodes exists in this universe, meaning that Chaos is canon. And not to mention, at the end of the Numa Easter egg, we repair a mirror, but it looks an awful lot like a Sentinel Artifact, which I have reason to believe this is a Sentinel Artifact, but a lot of people out there don't think it is, but I personally think this is. So based off of these two things alone, I think it's safe to say that Chaos is canon. So one of the first things that came to my mind when I first heard about this is what is going to be happening with that mysterious group that we saw in Black Ops 4 Zombies, the Order. And if you guys don't remember what the Order is that group of masked cultists that have the Sentinel Artifacts, and they're traveling around the world to find all of the Sentinel Artifacts. And not much else is really known about the Order, and this is one of the things that I really hope gets fleshed out later on down the line. Because since the Chaos storyline ended so abruptly after Ancient Evil, we didn't really get to learn more about this villainous organization. But now that it's intertwined with the Dark Aether storyline, this definitely has some implications. For example, is the Order a group of cultists that worship Dark Aether entities? Would this also mean that Sentinel Artifacts are Dark Aether artifacts, giving the Order more of a reason to find these artifacts? Because we saw in 9 the High Priest of Chaos using a Sentinel Artifact to turn people into zombies, which also brings up another question: is Prima Materia just Dark Aether energy? Because Prima Materia was the substitute for 115 after the Aether storyline, and the whole explanation as to why people are turned into zombies because of this dark force and this dark matter, this energy kind of a thing that turns people into zombies. So this means that Prima Materia could just straight up be Dark Aether energy. But I digress here a little bit. The Order is definitely an organization that we don't know all of their true motives yet. And so I really hope that in the next map for Vanguard Zombies, there are radios and there's more intel that clues us in as to what is happening. It could also be that De Waarheid, the organization that is in charge of digging up Dark Aether artifacts and finding out more about the Dark Aether, is a group that was formed after the Order, or maybe it's part of the Order. I know it might sound like a bit of a stretch, but I think something like this would align fairly well. I guess it all boils down to, at the end of the day, I just want to know what happened to the Order. Now, getting back to Aleister Rhodes, in the Chaos storyline in Black Ops 4, we know Aleister Rhodes as an archaeologist, whereas Gabriel Kraft describes Aleister Rhodes as an amateur demonologist, which on the surface might sound like a retcon, but I think this actually works out, because there's a very high possibility that Aleister Rhodes' archaeology directly connects to demonology. Because there was a Sentinel Artifact at Numa and Aleister Rhodes was studying Sentinel Artifacts, I think this makes sense. And since now it seems as if Sentinel Artifacts have a connection to the Dark Aether and Dark Aether energies, I think this aligns perfectly. Now, I know a lot of people out there might think it's kind of jarring that the Chaos storyline is now back in the spotlight for Call of Duty Zombies. Believe me, it was very jarring for me as well. But all in all, if they're able to weave the Dark Aether and Chaos storylines together in a cohesive and coherent way, I'm all for it. My one request, and I know a lot of people can get behind me when I say this, it all has to make sense. Because even though Chaos and Dark Aether started off at completely different points, I think this can still work out. Because with the Chaos storyline, you have a lot of mythology, and you have a lot of things to do with the ancient gods and ancient cities and civilizations. And basically the entirety of the Dark Aether as we know it has Dark Aether entities and gods and ancient civilizations and cults that worshipped them. So there is definitely a ton of potential for not only world building, but maybe some more story and plot points later on down the line for other maps. I think there is a high chance that maybe some of these ancient civilizations like the ancient Greeks and the ancient Egyptians thought that these Dark Aether entities were their gods. And taking into consideration that these powers have been around since the times of the ancient Romans and the ancient Greeks, I think this is very possible. I think this brings up a very important question. Do all gods come from the Dark Aether or not? I guess we'll have to find out later on. Like I said, it's possible, but we don't have a definitive answer yet. So going forward, what's going to be happening with Vanguard Zombies' next map? Because it's pretty clear after the events of Shi no Numa that we're going to be getting another map. Personally, I think we're going to be going deeper into the storyline lore and why the Chaos storyline connects to the Dark Aether storyline. And I think we're also going to be seeing the events that lead up to Die Maschine and what happens with Project Endstation. I know that technically our enemy in Vanguard Zombies is supposed to be Die Wahrheit and Von List and Cortifex, and I know Project Endstation and Die Wahrheit are separate, but I think we're going to be seeing some kind of event that ties it all in. And not to mention, what's going to be happening with Treyarch's game in 2024? They're going to have a lot of stuff to work with and a lot of material for this next game. Because their game in 2024 is obviously a sequel to Black Ops Cold War and the continuation of what happened in that game. And one of the more interesting plot points is going to be what's happening with Dr. Peck and why he's going to the middle of the Pacific Ocean to recover the Operatia Inversia warhead. So I'm very curious to see what Dr. Peck is going to unearth in the next game. Probably some more tie-ins for the Chaos storyline if I had to guess. So the last thing I'd like to talk about before I end off today's video is, was this all a part of the plan? And what I mean by this is, was this Treyarch's plan the entire time to cross over Dark Aether and Chaos? I have two possible answers for this, and of course, this is all speculative, but I'd like to see what you guys have to say about this in the comments. Number 1. Because of how the Chaos storyline ended off in Black Ops 4, Treyarch wanted to bring it back in some creative way. And because the Aether itself has been banished to this alternate dark reality and created a brand new reality, the Chaos storyline can coexist with the universe that is currently active right now, which could give Treyarch the window of opportunity they need to reintroduce the Chaos storyline, which could potentially mean they were planning this from the start and they wanted to ease us into the Dark Aether storyline, which is actually the Chaos storyline, with some familiar things. Not only familiar things and people, but a completely new gameplay style and something that feels completely detached from the Chaos storyline. That way when we get to Shi no Numa, it feels like a complete plot twist. Or there's the second option where this is all just damage control, because I know the majority of the community don't like Vanguard, so maybe this is a last-ditch effort for them to add something to the game that people like, so maybe they can get more people to like something from Vanguard. And so potentially they could just be winging the storyline at this point and just trying to write everything on the fly. And not to mention that over the last year or so, people have been looking back at the Chaos storyline more fondly, so this could be Treyarch's response to that, saying, hey look, check out something that you guys are enjoying now. Which I really hope that this isn't the case, and I hope that the former is true, that this was planned the entire time, but I honestly don't know, and I think you can make an argument for both sides. But anyways guys, that's about it for today's video. I don't normally do gameplay commentaries like this, but I just had so many thoughts about the Chaos storyline and the Dark Aether storyline crossing over that I wanted to make a video about it. And like I said, this entire video is speculative and me asking questions because we really don't know what's going to be happening from here on out. Either way, what do you guys think about the Chaos storyline crossing over into the Dark Aether storyline? Feel free to share your thoughts in the comments. Anyways guys, that's it for today's video and I hope you all enjoyed. If you guys would like to see more gameplay commentaries, also let me know in the comments because this was definitely a different style video for me and I had a lot of fun with it. But anyways, if you enjoyed this video and you'd like to see more, leave a like and subscribe if you're a brand new viewer, and check out all the links down below in the description so you stay up to date with everything that I do. And with that said, have a fantastic rest of your day or night depending on where you are in this crazy world, and I'll see you guys next time.